Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Smart TCG, and today I'm going to be going over some of the top performing decks at the most recent Sacramento Regional Championship. Limitless just most recently updated the Day 2 standings, and today we're going to be going over some of the top performing decks. Maybe some interesting things as well that happened at the tournament, and we're just going to kind of dive into a lot of those lists. So with that being said, the link to the standings will also be in the description. If you don't know where to access them, make sure to go check out Limitless TCG, one of the best platforms in the competitive Pokemon trading card game, to find all of these deck lists and standings and stuff like that from tournaments. So that being said, let's hop into it here. So we have Alexander Flatos. I believe this was their first regional actually this year, and they were able to take it down with none other than Lugia V-Star. Very cool to see this deck see success. Was the 19th place list that Lucas played at Peoria. And it's a pretty standard list here. You have the 4-3, you have the 4 Archeops, the 3-3 Lugia V-Star, 3 Snorlax, 2 Lumineon, 1 Drapion, most notably Luxray. There was another Lugia V-Star deck in top 8 that decided not to play this card, so that is something that is worth noting. Luxray, very, very good against decks like Charizard, being able to knock out the Pidgeot, along with also the Mirror Match, being able to wild charge the Lugia V-Star after they knock you out. So definitely some really cool things that you can pull off with this card, and just hitting 180 for pretty much free with the reversal energy is very, very nice. So overall, pretty standard list here. As I said, this was Alexander's first Pokemon regional. I believe they were a Yu-Gi-Oh player from what I've heard, or they played in Yu-Gi-Oh or other card game tournaments before, so they had quite a bit of experience, you could say, with card games, and understanding how to play like in tournaments and stuff like that. So shout out to Alexander for performing so well, and yeah, Colors Lugia won the tournament. A little bit surprising, as Miraidon has been such a dominant deck. However, at Sacramento Regionals, it's important to note, Lost Box came out. Lost Box just showed up and was dominating the tournament, which led to decks like Lugia becoming good because all the Lost Zone decks kind of pushed out the Miraidon, which is, Colors Lugia's worst matchup, arguably. So kind of created that perfect lane for Lugia to sweep throughout the Lost Box, then remain at the top tables, and then dominate the tournament and win. So congratulations there congratulations to Alexander. So anyways, Nicolo, this was the deck that was the most interesting. We have Arceus, Gyarados, Path to the Peak. This one is interesting. So we have Arceus V-Star with a 2-2 Barbara line, pretty standard there. And then we also have 1 Slacking and a 1-1 Gyarados VMAX line, and also a Radiant Greninja. So very interesting deck here. We saw 8 water energies as well, so very heavy on the energies also. And pretty much this deck's goal is just to judge path over and over again, use the B-Barrel with that Industrious Incisors to draw plenty of cards, and then you also have great attackers like Slacking and also Gyarados V with that Get Angry and Gyarados VMAX, which have a lot of potential as of right now. So yeah, I think this deck is pretty cool. It does kind of remind me of last year's Salt Lake City in 2022, about a year and a half ago, where Drew Kennett won with Arceus Gengar VMAX, and then the deck never really showed up after that. There's a potential that this happens with this deck as well. I haven't necessarily put a ton of testing into it, but it kind of seems potentially like a one-hit wonder, but it doesn't mean the deck is bad by any means. I think it has a lot of potential moving forward, but Arceus is still good. That's the thing. Starbirth is still ridiculously powerful, arguably one of the best, if not the best ability ever put on a Pokemon. So yeah, it's great being able to Starbirth over and over again. You got things like Sharon's Care. Judge Path is also great. Kind of has everything you need to be a good competitive Pokemon deck, and at least give you a chance in every single game, which is pretty much what this deck is able to do. Moving on here, we have Sawyer Melbourne here with Turbo. Pretty standard Turbo list here. Sawyer played it to a 106th place finish at Peoria the week before, and then ran it back for a 3rd place at Sacramento. So congratulations to them, sticking to what they know. They've been very known for playing things like Lost Box over the past couple months, and have actually seen quite a bit of success. So yeah, pretty standard Turbo list, as opposed to the Zamazenta build. They're more going for just the Turbo variant, which is interesting to look at here. It's a little bit more Turbo than anything else, because the Zamazenta variant most recently was saw a lot of success at Peoria with Raymond Long, and that's actually a deck we'll go into a little bit later. So interesting to see that version see a lot of success, as opposed to more Zamazenta. So anyways, Dorian here, that's how you say their name. My apologies if I butchered that. Pretty standard list here with the Luxray. Nothing looks like too surprising here. Looks pretty standard. Another colorless Lugia. Moving on, we got Ryan Harris. Ryan has been consistently performing very well over the past couple of months. Looks like Jeremy Castro and Ryan Harris both played the same list. Not sure if that was intentional or not, but was able to get top 8 here. Most notably, the Spiritomb was seen in this list. Other than that, though, not anything else super notable. The 3 boss actually is pretty notable instead of the pal pad, so that was one thing that I did notice. Still keeping memory skip. Some people have been changing that, but other than that, seems like a pretty straightforward list. No Luminion as well because there's Spiritomb. So yeah, it looks like another Gardevoir was able to perform quite well. Here is Charlie Kerr's list. Charlie was able to get top 8 at this tournament. I believe got top 32 at Peoria with the same deck. And was able to run it back at this tournament for a sixth place finish. So congratulations to them. This list is just even more consistent for Boss's orders. They cut the reversal energy along with also the Luxray as well, and focused on triple Snorlax and just more consistency overall. Really strong deck when it gets going. Not a whole lot else to say about it. Its colors gets pretty good, but that one is probably the most cookie cutter list as of right now. Next up, we got Azul Garcia Grego. Here, one of the best players to play the trading card game, consistently seeing success. Also a fantastic content creator as well. Nice guy. So congratulations to Azul here, getting a top 8 with a very similar build to what Raymond Long played last week to win the Peoria Regional Championship. So list here pretty much just like a more standard, slower Lost Box deck with the Zamazenta as an option to retaliate over and over again. Dealing 220 is incredibly powerful. You still have the Kyogre. You're a little bit more of a stable Lost Zone deck. I think that's important to mention. You just are a little bit more stable. You're a little bit slower, but you're a little bit more stable in games. Your deck is a little bit less chaotic. So overall, very strong deck here. And no surprise to see Azul. And also Caleb Gedimer, his testing partner and teammate on CGC, was able to perform in the top 64 as well. So shout out to both of them. Great players, and no surprise to see them doing well again, once again. So yeah, we got Dominic here with another Lugia list, most notably the Dittos in the deck, and also Squawkabilly. So some interesting inclusions here, having the Ditto and the Squawk. But other than that, pretty standard list. 15 energy, no Lux. Actually, no, there is a Luxray. Yeah, 15 energy with the reversal. So yeah, pretty standard. Nothing too special here for them. So shout out to Dominic for getting their top 8 that I know that they've been looking for quite some time. Next up, we got Braden Elfert. Braden Elfert, one of the best Arc players in the game, consistently tries to play Arc to every tournament and was able to get 9th place here with quite a interesting deck. We have Arceus, V-Star, B-Barrel, Duraludon, VMAX with Double Mawile. Double Mawile is great versus decks to be able to Tempting Trap versus something like Single Strike Lugia. You can Boss's Orders Tempting Trap something like the Radiant Serena versus something like Gardevoir. You can Tempting Trap something like the Manaphy or the Radiant Greninja. I was trying to think of the 2 cards. I was like, there's 2 cards here that you can trap. But yeah, very interesting deck here. One of Super Odd. Interesting to see that the Echo Horn as well. You're going to be able to pull off that Mawile play. Just a really cool deck. Pretty much is a more of a stall, slow version of Arceus, but actually has a lot of potential. So yeah, shout out to Braden for probably having the craziest deck of the weekend to see consistent success, I guess, in the top 32. So anyways, Irving Xavier Garcia Aldana, I apologize if I butchered that, but getting top 16 here with the Turbo Lost Zone Toolbox. Moving throughout some of the other lists here, Grant Shen able to get 12th place as well. We saw Henry played Gardevoir. Looking for some more interesting decks. We saw Alex Szymanski played Lost Zone Charizard. This was one of the Radiant Charizard variants instead of Turbo. Pretty solid deck. A little bit slower than Turbo. Can struggle versus some matchups. Can struggle to things like Lost City, but overall is very strong. Charizard, as you see, did not do very well. The highest placing just Charizard Arvanzard list was Tyler Zuckerus. With the Arvanzard list, very powerful. Very strong when it gets going. Can be a little inconsistent at times. However, when you are able to establish board states, it's incredibly powerful and can beat most things in the format. You always feel like you have some chance versus most decks in the format, which is really nice. But other than that, we saw Juan here with the Arceus Charizard as well. Pretty cool list here. Instead of playing the Pidgeot, there is the B-Barrel instead, which I do personally like, especially right now with Path of the Peak being such a popular card. So that's cool to see as well. Moving throughout some of the other interesting lists, I believe there was a Hisuian Zoroark. Yes, Brandon Jones was able to play Hisuian Zoroark to a top 64 finish. Hisuian Zoroark is a card that has been around for some time, however, hasn't seen a whole lot of play recently with that ticking curse, being able to deal 50 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. So paired up with things like damage pumps paired up with things as well, like I think Alakazam can move damage on their side of the board to kind of help them you know, reach more consistent knockouts with and you also have things like the barrel cleft key to slow down lost box. It has a decent amount of potential. There's actually no Gengar in this deck. Actually, wait, no, there is. Never mind. For some reason I didn't see it. I was like, wait, where is it hiding? But yeah, Gengar with that Netherworld Gate. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put it onto your bench and you put 3 damage counters on this Pokemon. So that allows you to damage your board state and pull off some pretty cool plays. Double Justified Gloves as well, allowing you to one-shot things like Charizard. Pretty cool deck. I think it has some potential, and might have to test this thing out. It's also only $30, so it's pretty easy to build for any of you casual players who might be looking for a deck to play. There was one other deck here that I wanted to find. I believe there was someone who got top 64 with Dialga. Aha, Ramon. Here is able to get top 64 with Dialga here. Origin form. Very, very cool to see this deck get 49th place, being able to use Comfy over and over again to power up the Origin form Dialga, to then be able to pull off that Star Chronos, which allows you to skip an entire turn, which is very, very good. So no surprise to see some crazy decks showing up, but definitely is a surprise to see Dialga of all things show up. And then as we go a little bit farther down, we'll see a lot more of these Charizard decks. Charizard was in day 2, however, it did do quite mediocrely overall, with only one Arvanzard being in top 32. Moving throughout the rest here, nothing particularly special aside from this legend Philippe, who ended up playing Ting Lu. So Ting Lu is pretty cool to see. There's also, I think, a stall deck at the very bottom we'll go over, but Ting Lu made its return, making top 256. Pretty cool to see this deck actually show up and see some success. Ting Lu is a really creative card that people haven't really been able to make work consistently, so it's cool to see them actually do well with it. Next up here, we have this monstrosity of Snorlax stall. I don't actually remember if this was the person that was on stream, I believe round 4. If they were, feel free to put that in the comments. If this was the person, I'll actually go check probably a little bit later. But yeah, Snorlax stall made its return at this tournament. Very interesting. You have that block Snorlax, which can lock things in the active. You have lots of disruption cards, Giacomo, Misfortune Sisters, you have cross switchers to lock things, Pokemon catchers. It's just chaotic. 2 crushing hammers, 1 battle VIP pass, 1 vacuum, 1 Hisuian heavy ball, 1 echo horn, 1 sealstone, 1 collapse, 1 temple, 1 headquarters. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. So very interesting to see this deck also seeing some success. It looks like their day 2 actually didn't go as planned. I did know someone who was playing Snorlax that apparently wasn't going to show up for day 2, so maybe that was just the person that didn't even get to show up for day 2. Not entirely sure, but anyways, those are some of the interesting decks. If there's anything that I missed, make sure to let me know. But I think those are some of the decks that I did find that were very interesting, that did see success. Congratulations to everyone that made it into day 2 at Sacramento. With events getting so big, that is no easy feat to be able to do, especially placing in the top 32 is much more difficult than it used to be. So anyways, that's gonna do it for the video. Let me know if there's any decks that you really want me to feature from this. I do have some more time as I'm getting ready for Toronto, but I have a week off, so I'll be able to get some more content out. My apologies for the stagnant content recently, but anyways, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for all the support. As always, this is Smart TCG, and I'll speak with you again soon. Peace out. If you're looking to improve your game, I do offer coaching on MetaFi. I was ranked in the top 16 ranked players in the world last season, and I know what it takes to improve your game. My students want to combine 3 regionals last year, and I know what it takes to reach that next level. I do offer a free coaching consultation so you can get an idea whether or not coaching works for you. And along with that, I also have a singular sessions, training packages, and more. If you're looking to find out more information, feel free to book that free consultation, or also don't hesitate to shoot me a message on Discord. My Discord will be in the description. All right. Thanks for sitting around and listening to this. I appreciate it. This is Smart TCG. I'll speak with you again soon. Peace out.